We 7-0. That's it.
7-0.
On to the next. On to the next.
It's ring season. That's all we gotta say.
I hope Lincoln ready because we coming next week.
Game day. When the band is what you hearing, everybody here is cheering. All your worries disappearing, y'all, it's game day. Whether televised or streaming live in person while you're screaming, no more waiting, no more dreaming, y'all, it's game day. When the band is what you hearing, everybody here is cheering. All your worries disappearing, y'all, it's game day. Whether televised or streaming live in person while you're screaming, no more waiting, no more dreaming, y'all, it's game day. No more waiting, no more dreaming, y'all, it's game day. No more waiting.
Boy, that Virginia Union squad is ice cold this year. They might be the favorites to win the CIAA and make some noise in the NCAA playoffs. I won't pick against them anymore. I promise I won't. I'll tell you that much. Hey everyone, and welcome to the No Huddle presented by Nissan. I'm Tolly Carr in Atlanta. Let's get to it. It's week 8. We had some bangers last weekend, some big homecomings on deck this weekend. Let's get into this power poll as voted on by the HBCU game day staff. Disclaimer, we have some ties in here. The math might look a little funny. We got 11 teams in our top 10. All right, at number 10, Delaware State. Are the Hornets for real? Well, it looks like it. Howard homecoming this weekend, barbecue or mildew? Don't get lost in that, what is it, that mama sauce up there in D.C.? Don't do that, Del State. I think the Hornets are for real. Give me Del State. Tied for 10th. It's Alabama State. They got back right against Mississippi Valley State following the Who Swack, You Ain't Swack Bowl from a couple of weeks ago. Off week ahead of the Magic City Classic. We'll have that big prediction coming up next week. Number 9, South Carolina State taking on North Carolina Central University. Ooh, is this going to be the passing of the guard from one year to the next in the MEAC? Because we're starting to think about the Celebration Bowl just a little bit. Hey, I love the Fighting Buddy Pews, but I think it's time for the Eagles to, is that how they do it? Did they fly high like that? I'm going to take North Carolina Central. Hey, this week is wonky. Like I said, we have several ties. 11 teams made the poll. I think ALCORN State is number 6 now. It's a super tie there. ALCORN State versus Texas Southern. I like Texas Southern, but not that much. Give me ALCORN State in this one. Prairie View. A&M versus Lamar. Who is Lamar, you ask? At home, they're an 0-6 team from the Southland Conference. Prairie View, you better win, boys. Three-way tie at 6 ends with Hampton taking on the University of Richmond. Hampton at home. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. I'm going with the Spiders here. I hope I'm wrong, but I have my integrity, folks. It means everything. I got to keep it real. All right, top 5 for our FCS poll. North Carolina A&T, a week out from GHO. They are at Robert Morris. Okay, Robert Morris is 0-6. Aggies, you bet not. You bet not this week, Aggies. All right, FAMU is off this weekend. They have homecoming next weekend. Our team that is tied for 3rd really did a great job rebounding after that Jackson State loss. Southern University is tied with FAMU for 3rd. Is homecoming for the Jaguars. Southern had that goose egg game earlier this year against Texas Southern. They're going to be missing some players. Suspension because of that little ruckus they had the other week with Prairie View A&M. But look at this, man. They are playing well. They are not going to have any problems this week. Homecoming, Virginia Lynchburg. Come on, man. You know what it is. It's Southern University. All right, number 2 in our poll is North Carolina Central University. The Eagles, like I said, they're flying high. I have them beating South Carolina State this weekend. But if they don't, I'm going to hear it from South Carolina State fans because we never give them respect. Just ask a South Carolina State fan. Game day does not give them respect. That's the word on the streets and in my DMs. Our polls are going to get a little topsy-turvy if North Carolina Central doesn't win. But hey, they tore Morgan State out of the frame on Thursday night last week. Our Wally Pitt was there, and he gives us an exclusive look inside the game.
O'Kelly Riddick Stadium in Durham, North Carolina was the backdrop for a nationally televised primetime Thursday night MEAC showdown. And when they cut the lights on in the Bull City, you best believe that Eagle pride gonna be amplified. And I'm not gonna forget about the band, because the flavor combo of Morgan State's magnificent marching machine, in addition to the North Carolina Central sound machine, was smacking like somebody put Old Bay on a Dillard's barbecue plate. And coming out of the orange and blue corner, we had the Morgan State Bears, who came into the 919 already holding on to one conference loss. And in a 6-team league, you really can't afford to lose 2 and think you got a realistic chance of going to the A.
Hey, family on 3, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But them boys from B-More knew that playing in a primetime ESPN2 game means there's more on the line than just the final score.
This is your resume. What you putting on tape, what people gonna remember after the night. That's all it is. What they gonna remember after the night? They gonna call your number? They gonna say that running back? What they gonna say? You got 60 minutes to tell them what they say. Let's get it.
Hey, dog pound on 3, dog pound on me, 1, 2, 3, dog pound.
And in the maroon and gray were the MEAC front-running North Carolina Central Eagles, coming in at 4-1 overall with a whole lot of attitude.
Hey, let's go! Let's go! Let's get it, man! Let's get it, man! Let's get it, man! Jump up! Let's go! Jump up! Let's go! Jump up! Let's go!
And we had 2 MEAC Player of the Year candidates suited up for this one as well. Morgan State running back Alfonso Graham, the conference's leading rusher, and a guaranteed 6.6 yards every time he touches the rock. Then there's North Carolina Central quarterback Davius Richard. Buddy is first in almost every statistical MEAC quarterbacking category, plus he's top 5 in rushing and number 1 in rushing touchdowns. So when it comes to offense in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference this year, just know that's him. And while this one kicked off as a potentially competitive game between conference contenders, North Carolina Central quickly went about the business of proving why they're considered the cream of the MEAC crop. Davius Richard finding E.J. Hicks all types of open for the 31-yard score. Dennis Richard finding Devin Smith for a 7-yard touchdown and put NCCU up 14-0. But here come the Bears. The play action to Alfonso Graham opens up Andre Crowley for the 33-yard score, and it's 14-7 going into the second quarter. A second quarter that belonged to the Eagles. Davius Richard going back-to-back like he was beefing with Meek Mill. He starts with an 11-yard scoop for 6 and comes right behind it with a 44-yard jog for his 4th touchdown of the half, and it's 28-7 NCCU. Morgan State not out of the fight yet though. Freshman kick returner Keith Jenkins Jr. puts on the jet and beat me downfield for the 96-yard touchdown. And when coach said stay back, I stayed back. And the NCCU lead was 35-13. Now the Eagles got one of the best running backs in the MEAC too now, Latrell Collier, shaking defenders off for a 44-yard run. Now watch him cash it in with the extra 56-yard touchdown, and NCCU is out here rolling. The Bears looking to get Alfonso Graham going. A strong run and a nice little catch gives Morgan State in scoring position. But on 4th and 2 in the red zone, that Eagle defense bottled them up and took over on downs. Then it's more Davius Richard. He finds Devin Smith in the end zone one more time, and bro, it's not even halftime, and North Carolina Central has a 42-13 lead. And Bull City was still cracking at the half too. We had a whole saxophone solo. The NCCU dancers was out there hitting that little Kim. And this Morgan State drum major is about his business. Alfonso Graham trying to get a little something going in the third quarter, but that Morgan State run game was just never in sync. Davius Richard adding one more touchdown pass to an almost 300-yard 6-touchdown night, and North Carolina Central makes a statement with the 59-20 win on national TV, moving the Eagles one game closer to a possible trip to the Celebration Bowl.
Tell Morgan to go home. Bye-bye. Maybe next year, but probably not. Zoom in on that. Zoom in on that right there. Zoom in on that. Zoom in on that score. HBCU, baby. Yes, sir. Eagle pride amplified. You know what I'm saying? We all in it. And we do this real slime ski. You see the stuff, boy.
And our number one team again, yes again and again, the unbeaten Jackson State Tigers taking on Campbell University for homecoming. Last weekend it was Bethune-Cookman in Jacksonville, and the Tigers did Tiger-type things.
I guess an end to a rough 3 weeks for us. We'll finally get to go home tonight. We've been gone since the 27th of last month, but still no excuse. We dropped too many balls today, missed too many tackles, just did not make the plays that we needed to make to win the football game. When you play a football team, the caliber of Jackson State, you have to make the plays that are there for you to make. The plays that you're supposed to make, we have to make them. We didn't do that today. We had way too many miscues in all three phases, and there's no excuse for that.
God bless you, thank everyone. Sorry that we're tardy, if we are, I don't know. But a wonderful game. Bethune, through all the tribulations that they've endured, put up a heck of a fight. What I mean by that, I just was talking to the head coach before the game, and it's unbelievable what they've endured over the last several weeks since the storm. And praying for them, my hat's off for them. I wish I had known so I could have did what I could possibly have done to assist. But I got a lot of respect, a lot of admiration for the team, for the coach, for the university, for what they're accomplishing.
Coach, what does, compared to maybe 2019 last year, what has Deion got them doing better? What are they doing better as a team that might not have been there 2-3 years ago?
I just think it's the focus and the energy. When you have a college football team, we all have athletes, and they do have a dominant defensive line. That's where it starts, and I think they play with a lot of focus. They play with a lot of energy, and you have to match that focus, that energy, and that discipline every play. Because you can see us in spots playing with them, but if you don't focus one play, it can turn into a big play for them. So that's where we have to we be better as a team. We have to make sure that we're continuing to focus and continuing to be disciplined and not have, it's been 2 weeks in a row. It wasn't as bad today, but we did have, 2 personal fouls that were critical, that took us, out of good field position. And those are things that just can't happen.
I've always been glad to come. I didn't want to come. I just like optics. When it comes to HBCU, we got to give you the best optics we can possibly give you. So when they pan the audience on television, I like it packed. I don't like emptiness. So when you bring an HBCU team into a wonderful environment like this, the aesthetics are everything. But the fans' support, it was phenomenal today. It was truly phenomenal, and I'm pleased and I'm happy.
I can't say I was encouraged because last year we had the most sacks in the league on him. We sacked him 9 times last year. We just missed tackles today, which is a little bit upsetting to me because those are plays that we have to have. We know we can get to the quarterback and we understand how to get to the quarterback. We just have to finish when we get there.
Coach Vaughn Wilson, HBCU Game Day. Coach, we saw Shiloh today get back in. You had a smile on your face.
Yeah.
How was it to see him get back in action, and how was your back?
Nerves for the last several weeks, in that practice, but he's been working his butt off. I told him he wasn't ready last week. Today he got in and contributed so he could get back to being the old Shiloh and a starter. We're missing 2 guys like that in the secondary, and we've still been pretty successful. You figure a Shiloh, that's an all-SWAC player, whatever they call it. Then you got Travis Hunter, not even in the starting lineup on the defense. Then we got another gentleman, Big True Thompson from Florida State that hadn't played as well. So that's 3 starters on the defense, and we have a pretty dominant defense. That's going to help us tremendously. Whatever you fear usually happens, overtake you. We don't fear. We don't fear anything. We fear the Lord. That's the only thing we fear. We don't fear man. No, we don't function like that. Like we go hard, and you got to understand, we wanted to end on a positive note. That's the only reason we kept him in that long. After throwing a couple picks, we wanted to end on a touchdown drive. Then we got him right out after that. So that was more of for him mentally, so we could get on the plane, and I'm not gonna look at him like he's crazy because he sits right by me on the flight.
All right, let's get back to that homecoming for Jackson State. It's not a cupcake game. It's not the Sisters of the Poor. Virginia Lynchburg's not coming to town, folks. Campbell is good, like real good. And Deion Sanders says that Campbell wanted to be the homecoming opponent.
Coach Mentor, fellow former NFL player, doing a phenomenal job with this program. I think he's been there approximately 10 years or more, but he's been in the coaching for quite some time. I mean, he was a tough, gritty, hard-nosed player that took no junk, and that's the way his team takes the field. They're gritty, tough, hard-nosed. They're very disciplined, very strategic. I like what they're doing offensively. Defensively, they're stout. They got some guys that can get after the passer. They got some high-ranking recruits. One of them, I believe, has an interception. We got a third-ranked guy in FCS, 20 tackles on the season, interception. He's doing Rouser, I believe, that's the name, if I'm incorrect. Correct.
Yes, sir.
They're doing some wonderful things, man. I really have a lot of respect for Coach Mentor and what he's accomplished there.
I knew that it was going to happen 2 years ago. This is not something just because the game or it got scheduled. Right. I knew 2 years ago. I told my AD, we got to get this game, because I saw the significance of what he can bring. Just what you just said, right? I know what he's going to do. Okay, he's the greatest of, I call him the greatest athlete because all time. Because who go be an all-star in baseball and then go be a freaking Pro Bowler in football? Man, nobody do that stuff, right? Play one game, during the day and then go play another one that night. Nobody does that. And so I know he's going to come and change wherever he goes, right? So we go to Jackson State. Jackson State is the beneficiary of greatness. I'm bringing it. That's what he does, right? Okay, so I know that right away. I know what we doing over here. I said, oh man, what better way to make this happen than to, and then it just so happened that 2 years later we, #1 and #2 recruiting class in FCS. So now, man, people say, hey, that might be a pretty good game, right? And then the simple fact that Deion was able to see, I believe that he was able to see, you got another alum out there doing the same thing. Let's bring some light to what they doing too, right? That's who he is, man. He's a light bearer, and so this is what he's doing. Everybody now in the black community is gonna know Campbell University after this game, and so what we talking, right? I mean, that's a beautiful thing. He saw it, I saw it, and thank God we were able to put it together.
This was comprised by Coach Mentor and Ashley. I think they called one another, our AD, Ashley Robinson, and we wanted to afford them an opportunity. This is a huge crowd. I don't know if they've ever played in front of a crowd like this, but Coach Mentor deserves it. I mean, he deserves the opportunity. We didn't pick him just because we thought we could beat them. We didn't pick them because we needed the attendance as well. We're going to get 60,000 at the game, and it'll probably be another 15 in the parking lot. So it wasn't that approach that some other schools may have those approaches. We don't function like that, but we know how other schools function. But this is a tremendous opportunity for both teams. We're playing against an opponent that can come in here and win. It's not an opponent that can come in here and lay down. They're not going to do that. They're not taught that way. They're not built that way. They're not coached that way. So this should be a great contest, and I look forward to it.
You get an HBCU powerhouse versus an up-and-coming PWI, and you got two black head coaches coaching. And not only that, you got two coaches that play in the league. Now, Deion is Mount Rushmore. Trust me when I tell you that, right? He's number one on Mount Rushmore when it comes to defensive players. And I was a DB, so he's the godfather of the DBs, man. Everybody know Prime is the godfather of the DBs. So that's big bro. And we get a chance to bring that together and show the world how we doing it from two different angles.
Love it. We're going to have much more on that game all week long on HBCU Game Day. Let's get into that Division II top 10 poll. There are no ties here. Thank goodness. That math will not get fuzzy or funny. Number 10 Lane will play Tuskegee this weekend. Let me hold that prediction just one momento. We'll come back to that. Virginia State is sitting at number 9 at Elizabeth City State this weekend. You, me, and everybody will take the Trojans. Number 8, we're still showing love to Langston. I know they're an NAIA school, but we're showing them love. It's our poll. We can do what we want to do. I pick Langston every week, no matter who they play. Tuskegee did not look much like anything the first couple of weeks of the season, but now they are on fire, on track, and rolling. They are at Lane this weekend, a good team in their own right. They're in our poll as well, but I think Tuskegee rolls on for another week. Fort Valley State in the shadow of Benedict and Albany State, but don't sleep. They are in Atlanta this weekend to take on CAU. I'll go chalk with Fort Valley State. Bowie State had the heartbreaker against Virginia Union last weekend. An overtime loss on a field goal to the Panthers. It's impressive. I mean, it hurts, but it's impressive.
Virginia Union walked into Bulldog Stadium to let Bowie State know there's a new bully on the block. But Bowie State was ready and wanted all the smoke. The heat got turned up in the second half. Virginia Union put the ball in the hands of their pocket rocket, Jada Byer. And he slashes the Bowie defense for a 23-yard touchdown. Later in the third quarter, Jakari Grant throws an alley-oop to John Giles for an 11-yard touchdown to put the Panthers up 17-9. The Dogs still had some fight in them. They had an 8-play, 49-yard drive, capped off by Larry Williams taking the ball in from the floor. No, it's not a glitch. They ran the same play to get the 2-point conversion. The game is now tied. On the very next drive, Jakari Grant hits James Jackson for 32 yards, then takes it in himself with the fake handoff that completely caught the Bowie State defense off guard. DJ Galat would not be outdone. He hit Kashane Hinckley for 16 yards, then Morgan Scroggins for 12 more. Then he decided to take it in on his own from 10 yards out. This score ultimately sent the game into overtime. In the extra session, after Virginia Union was called for a holding penalty that moved the Bulldogs to the 7-yard line, Bowie had the ball on the Panthers' 2-yard line in scoring position. But Virginia Union will record back-to-back stops to contain the Bowie State. Next up, the Panthers. The Bulldogs' defense bit once more, but Brady Myers split the uprights from 42 to get Virginia Union over the hump.
We told him we was gonna do this, baby. I look, like kicking right there. I know, that's kicking in the nation.
All right, Bowie hosting Chowan this weekend. Bulldogs take out a pound of flesh. I don't know how you physically take out a pound of flesh, but they're going to do it some way to the Hawks this weekend. Fayetteville State, quarterback by committee, is working for now. For now, it's working. It'll work against Johnson C. Smith on Saturday as well. Our number 4 team will hold on to their place as the Kings of the South for another week. Albany State, that lost to Benedict. A homecoming loss to Benedict. Yeah, that one hurt as well, but they are still our number 3 squad at Savannah State. The Tigers, they've kind of taken a step back this season, right? Just not quite the same. Golden Rams will find their shine once again this weekend. If it was not for Virginia Union, Benedict would be our #1 Division II team. Some may think that they are the #1 team. I'm sure in Columbia that's what they're saying, but either way, Benedict is undefeated, and they are going to reign all over Spellhouse this weekend. All right, no secret here. Virginia Union is the top dog at Lincoln, PA. It's going to be ouchies for Lincoln and another dub for the Panthers. Let's show some love before we leave the No Huddle this weekend. Winston-Salem State, my school, we kind of missed our homecoming because of hurricane. We hadn't been winning. We did get a win last weekend. HBCU Game Day was on the scene. We had a pop-up, tent selling a little merch. A lot of people came out and showed love. It was a partnership with Twin City Authentics, so we really had a good time there. And let's leave you here today on the No Huddle, presented by Nissan, with the sounds of the Red Sea of Sound. We'll see you guys next week. Here we go.
Now we're gonna swag a little bit. Like only we can do. Here's a little gorilla.
Game day. When the band is what you hearing, everybody here is cheering. All your worries disappearing, y'all, it's game day. Whether televised or streaming live in person while you're screaming, no more waiting, no more dreaming, y'all, it's game day. When the band is what you hearing, everybody here is cheering. All your worries disappearing, y'all, it's game day. Whether televised or streaming live in person while you're screaming, no more waiting, no more dreaming, y'all, it's game day.